Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's album review is on Roxy Music, their 1980 album called Flesh and Blood. I'm surrounded by their records. Um, this is my second review of a Roxy Music album. The first one I did was Manifest, and I gave it a 62 out of 100, which tells me it's a good score in my rating system. Um, Flesh and Blood was um, it's kind of like I mean, Roxy Music Avalon's my favorite Roxy Music album. It's more towards my liking. It's more smoother. I think it's very well recorded, and Flesh and Blood is kind of like the precursor to that album, sort of its partner in a way. Kind of shows where the band's going, sort of moving out of the rock direction, going a little bit more towards Brian Ferry for the good and the bad of it. I know there's some hardcore Roxy Music fans who don't necessarily like the disco direction of some of the songs that were on the Manifest and even here maybe a little bit, but you know they like the more traditional glam rock sound, and I get it. I'm more tied to the more later Roxy Music than the earlier Roxy Music, and which is funny because I love Brian Eno, and I wish he would have stayed with the band in many respects. But um, there's a lot of this is a really excellent sounding album. Rhett Davis engineered it, Bob Clearmountain mixed it, and Rob Ludwig mastered it. Like that's an amazing team to have Rhett Davies, Bob Clearmountain, and Rob Ludwig. That's just an amazing team there. This album was set up for success, that's for sure, as far as how it was going to sound. So all they had to do was come through with the material, and I feel like they did a good job with this album. The singles on the album, Over You, Midnight Hour, and Same Old Scene. It's a consistently strong album, especially 6 through 10, which always surprises me when I listen to this album, because I think of the certainly the more popular ones are on the first side. The more well known ones are on the first side, but the second side is really underrated, and yeah, it's just like so the first track, Midnight Hour, right? Getting into the tracks. I'm not a huge. Well, I wouldn't say I'm not huge. I mean, it's give or take, but I really like Brian Ferry's album Taxi. There's some really good cover songs on that album. Rescue Me, I Put a Spell on You, Taxi. Um, there's blanking on some of the other ones, but I really like Oh, I Will Love You Tomorrow. Like, there's some good cover songs on that album. But he's done some other cover songs on his album through his career, from In the Midnight Hour to the Dylan-esque album, and I think he's done like some Wilson Pickett stuff, and or his Midnight Hour Wilson Pickett. I always forget. But I think he's like covered like a lot of like early rock and roll and stuff, and some soul music as well. I think he's probably done some other bands. I'm just kind of blanking on the name. Maybe he did some uh, Otis Redding song, I think he did one time. And anyway, he's done a lot of covers throughout his career, and I can't say I'm a big fan of his covers, although I do like some songs on Taxi, but it's more the production and maybe those particular songs. But I do think does a good job at covering the songs, but I just not a big fan of early rock and roll and blues songs that are kind of some classics like the Midnight Hour. Really, I don't hate it. I don't hate any of them, but they're just not really like. It just sounds like old music that I can't really connect with. And I'm not a huge fan of this cover song. I think it's a strange way to start the album, but I don't think it really goes with any of the other albums. Rest of the album seems pretty polished for the time, and here you're putting in an old cover song that I don't think anybody really wants to hear. I wish this was Jealous Guy. If there was any cover song that was on here around the time, if this album would have waited a year, they could have put Jealous Guy here. And I don't think anybody would have been mad about that. I think Jealous Guy is a good cover song. But in the midnight hour, just I don't know. In some retrospect, it sort of gets the cover song out of the way on the album, and then we can focus on their actual material. But I still think it's a good cover song. Excuse me, I gave it 2 stars. Oh yeah, good ballad, nice catchy, 2 3/4 stars. I was kind of on the teetering between 3 stars and 2 3/4 stars. Kind of settled on 2 3/4 stars. Same Old Scene. I really like this one. This is what I'm talking about. I put that, but this is what I'm talking about. This is Bryan Ferry that I like right here. Driving bass line. I like when the band's in this mode, when they're kind of getting their groove on. Futuristic keyboards, nice guitar riffs. Bryan Ferry's in his box. Keep him in his box. Like this is what I'm talking about. This is like this is in that Avalon kind of theme sound. Not quite to the level of Avalon album, but this is kind of in its ilk. 3.5 stars. I like when Bryan Ferry's in this sort of cool. I'm a solo guy on the town looking for love, looking for the next party, and then ends up whining at the cafe by himself with a drink all down because he's all alone. Right. That's kind of Bryan Ferry for me. That's the aura of Bryan Ferry for me. More so as a solo artist, but that's what I like about Bryan Ferry. He kind of has this like wounded lover kind of crooner kind of feel that he's kind of he's swinging. He's he's in the cool people crowd. He's got the nice clothes and he's dressed nice and he's got his hair done and he's pulling up in a limousine and he's got beautiful girls around him, right? But at the end of the night, he's still alone by himself, no matter if he gets the girl or not. He's just not finding the love that he finds. I relate with that. I relate with that. Being a single person, and I've always kind of, I don't know if I've always kind of aspired to sort of be that, but Bryan Ferry, ever since I was like 12 years old. But Bryan Ferry has kind of been that role model in a way. Like I've always, if I was ever kind of like down with a girl or something like that, or not, or something didn't go where sometimes you want to be romantic and play a Bryan Ferry song or something like that too, but it always kind of Bryan Ferry seems like the sound of a love lost, of just not really having everything else that you could possibly want. And I feel like I sort of had that in my own smaller way, but just like feeling that you're not, being disappointed and sort of not finding that girl that you really thought was out there, that you hope was out there. I think that's kind of like, that's always what I've gotten from Bryan Ferry. That's always what I've liked about his music. And when his music represents those two sides of the search and the chasing of girls, right, and all that comes with it, nightlife and everything like that, and then your heart's broken, or you don't find that love, or you're just rejected, right? There's that kind of Bryan Ferry. That's the two sides I always relate to. Like when I think of Roxy Music's music, I don't relate to it because what is it? It's glam. I don't know how to relate to glam. It's like a show. I mean, Bryan Ferry was that kind of toned down into kind of Casanova, right? But yeah, it's Same Old Scene. It's a great example of that going out song that you put on and kind of hit the town. Flesh and Blood, another great one, 3.5 stars. What a bass line, smooth, more in the vein that I like. Nice melody, great combination of older rock and new with that guitar riff, but everything else seems updated and fresh and nice tight jam band. Yeah, great, 3.5 stars. And then My Only Love, like as if what I just said my whole spiel about Brian Ferry and who he is and who he is persona is wrapped up in this one song, "My Only Love." It's this. I don't even know what to say about the album, about the song. It's the song that made me a Roxy Music fan. I think I was like, I knew Roxy Music's popular stuff from probably when I was. I mean, Avalon. I probably knew when I was 8 or 9 years old. Um, I mean, I knew a lot of Slave to Love. I knew Don't Stop the Dance. I probably knew when I was 9 or 10 when that came out. But when it really clicked when I went and bought their 1990 compilation. Um, my heart is still beating. When I bought that compilation when I was 1990 and My Only Love was on it, and that was the first time I heard it, then it clicked. Then I went and bought all Brian Ferry stuff. Then I went up to that point. I started looking into Roxy music and stuff like that, and this track is it amazing. And if you've seen the live version, the live version from the recorded concert in France, I mean, wow, like musicmanship. I mean, bass line, the keyboards, the background singers, the really patient drumming, and the way he kind of slows down and speeds up the song, and one of Brian Ferry's best performances vocally for me. Saxophone even is great on here. Guitar is epic. The groove, the soul of the song. It has funk. It has pop. It has dance. It has a great fade out on the album version. It's an amazing song. 5 stars all day. 5 stars. I love this song. My Only Love. Great song. Um, yeah, Over You. Still a strong song. 3.25 stars. Catchy. I like the guitar. Kind of has a 60s sound on it. I really like the piano and the sax towards the end too. Getting saxy with it, as my friend Trey would say. 3.25 stars. 8 Miles High. 3 stars. Funky. Nice groove. Again, the 6 through 10 is really underrated. Rain, Rain, Rain is my least favorite of the 5 in the end, on the second half of the album. It's another late night moody groove song though. 2.75. Not to the level of the other ones though. No Strange Delight is always I forget about this, how good the song is at the end here. Ferry's in his pocket again. It's a little bit more atmospheric, a little more epic. 3.25 stars. And then Running Wild, I really like the piano and everything. Really strong ending. 3 stars as well. So just a really good album consistently. I got three songs that are in the 2 stars, right? And then I got 6 songs that are in the 3 stars, and then one that's 5 stars. So really strong album still. I have the overall 32 stars divided by 10 for a 3.20, which comes out to be about a 70, around a 74 or so. I did give it a couple extra points for just the overall, how great the sound is. There's really nothing on here that I can give any kind of option or criticism on or anything like that, except maybe in my Midnight Hour, the cover song leading off the album. But it's still a good song. Like, it's just, whatever. But really, I can't critique anything else. So I gave it a couple extra points as well. I gave it a 76 out of 100 on the higher side of very good. Really good album. I'm sure Avalon will score better, but probably my second favorite Roxy Music album, which makes sense because it's right in line with what I was saying with it's my favorite period, the later period of Roxy Music. Yeah, great album. Really close to being great. I just feel like I could still call it a great, a great album. That's the funny thing about when you get down and rate actual albums, and you have a critique, and you have a strong opinion on stuff, right? I feel like this is a great album in some ways, but it is still right under there. It's very good. It's not quite a great album, but I feel like being excited and sharing it's a great album, but It's a very good album. 76 out of 100. All right, thanks for listening, watching, and have a good day.